It's Sunday, April 12th, and I am walking over to Nagoya Park, never been there before, to film an April Adventures video with my big ol' hiking backpack. And yeah, going in a direction I've never gone before. I mean, micro adventure, tunnel, whatnot. Gonna be a fun time. I'm listening to David Copperfield as I walk because it's pretty much just gray city, or well, not gray totally, there's some trees, but I figured it'd be good to have some company while I make the trek to Nagoya Park.
Hope you like azaleas, hope you like azaleas, hope you like them as much as me. Don't you know, don't you know, don't you know that I'm thinking of you. I'm gonna try the recipe for burning what they have done. That might have the rest will soon return to the one you love. I'm gonna try the recipe for burning what they have done. That might have the rest will soon return to the one you love. I'm gonna try the recipe for burning what they have done. That might have the rest will soon return to the one you love. I'm gonna try the recipe for burning what they have done. I wanna be the one you're thinking of. I wanna be the one you're thinking of.
Hello. Hope you enjoyed that montage that I just edited and made. I just finished the song like 30 seconds ago, and I ran on over here to film a little video just to say that I added footage not from the walk to Nagoya, but from a Hanami hike that Ambi and I took. Because I wrote that little song, and there was that line of like, I'm thinking of you, and I thought, oh, I gotta add some footage from something that I did with Ambi, because that would make it probably more song appropriate. So I hope you enjoyed that. And then, yeah, right now I'm gonna play the little commentary that I made on the narrow road to the interior. I filmed that in Nagoya, and I was pretty subdued when I recorded that because I was surrounded by playing kids and by a beautiful spring scene. I didn't want to intrude with this like loud American yapping about books, but I had a fun time talking about it, and I hope you enjoy it. See you soon. Hello everyone. Welcome to the kickoff episode of April Adventures 2026, The Narrow Road to the Deep North by Basho. This is today's episode. I'm here in a little local park that I've walked to. I took some videos on the way here, so you probably just saw those, listening to David Copperfield. And I've just been reading through a bit more of this delightful travel journey, travelogue, written by Matsuo Basho in the 1600s, I believe. And I think I brought this up actually on my video about all the books that I brought to Japan with me, and I already said some stuff about it. But I thought this would be a good introduction to this year's April Adventures, because it's kind of quintessential adventure in real life, adventure nonfiction. Although whether or not this is really totally nonfiction or not is definitely up for debate, because it is more beautiful than life. This is a collection of haiku by the haiku poet Basho, Matsuo Basho, whose name means something kind of like plantain tree. It's a nickname. For those of you who are familiar with hiking culture in the United States, people who hike the Pacific Crest Trail typically get nicknames. And, you know, they can be polite and fun like bananas, and they can be not so polite. Maybe you had an upset stomach on your first day, and you never name yourself, other people name you. So the other poets named Basho. And as I said in that video about all the books I brought to Japan with me, basically what these haiku poets used to do is go around and have adventures by walking through the interior of Japan, going from temple to temple, shrine to shrine, with poetry from, you know, their elders, their ancestors, taken along with them, kind of reflecting on the nature of mortality and whatnot. And as they wrote these haiku, they would document their experiences in journals, and then sort of collect them in the end, and compile the greatest haiku and intersperse them with the prose. So it makes for really interesting reading. This translation by Sam Hamill really preserves the journalistic nature of it. A lot of the writing is presented in these kinds of bullet points. So for instance, set out to see the murder stone, Sessho Seiki, on a borrowed horse, and the man leading it asked for a poem. Something beautiful, please. And then it has the poem. I'll read that, I guess. This is the beautiful haiku poem. The horse turns his head. From across the wide plain, a cuckoo's cry. Sessho Seiki lies in dark mountains. Dark mountain shadow near hot springs emitting bad gases. Dead bees and butterflies cover the sand. And just more of this kind of fragmented writing. Cross the ferry at Tsukinoa to the post town of Seno Ue to see the ruins that were at Sato Shoji's house, beyond the town to the left, near the mountains. So it's so interesting that instead of translating it with the full English way we would kind of introduce the subject, we crossed on the ferry at Tsukinoa. Sam Hamill preserves the Japanese language's tendency to omit the subject in its sentences. Japanese is a topic-focused language, so if the subject is sort of understood contextually, a lot of times it's omitted by the speaker or the writer. Of course, if you're an English speaker, that sounds fragmented, that sounds incomplete. In the same way that if you were a native English speaker and you heard someone speak without using any articles, it would sound kind of like caveman-y. And yet, Sam Hamill makes a creative decision to not translate, not to embroider any, and not to add any words that would make it sound like native English to us, which is a fascinating decision. In my opinion, I guess my thoughts on this book is that I enjoyed it, but I have not fallen in love with it. I don't find haiku to be a form of poetry that has ever moved me, and I'm curious as to whether, as I learn more Japanese and start to experience haiku in Japanese, whether that'll change and I'll enjoy it more. Because I strongly suspect that haiku simply does not translate well into English. Haiku, of course, is the poem, the 3-line poem with 5 syllables in the first line, 7 in the second, and 5 again in the third. And I don't know if it's because the Japanese language has more of its entire construction centered around syllables, which I explained in that other video. It's sort of like constructed around these vowels, a, I, u, e, o, and then with consonants attached to them. So like K, S, and M, ka, ke, ku, ke, ko, ka, and then ma, me, mu, me, mo, and so on. So the syllable is really the unit. Whereas in English, syllables are kind of wishy-washy. It's not always clear how many syllables there are in a word. Most of our poetic information we get from stress or from alliteration or from rhyme, not really the amount of syllables. So I don't think it really makes sense translating that. In the same way, it would be so interesting to try to translate Chaucer into Japanese, because the the Chaucerian flow, the Juan da Tapro with the Shorasota, the Drafta Maj have passed to the Rota, that amazing hammocky swinging feeling of a couplet cannot exist in Japanese. It's just impossible. Not to mention the fact that the endings of Japanese sentences are often are verbs and grammar pieces, not like nouns and verbs. Well, yeah, they are verbs, but not really nouns and adjectives, and you can't really put a lot of things at the ends of Japanese words to make rhyme. You really couldn't translate Chaucer in a way that would have preserved Chaucer. And I strongly suspect that you can't really translate Basho without losing most of him. So, maybe I'll make a video a year from now where I'm reading to you some Basho in the original Japanese. Right now I cannot read, well I can read actually like hiragana, and a lot of this was written in hiragana, which is just a script that's actually kind of intelligible and easier to read. But I will pull out some of these some of these haiku, and some of the prose especially I found to be really moving. Here's one of my favorite haiku from the entire thing. Summer grasses, all that remains of great soldiers' imperial dreams. I love that these soldiers have these big imperial dreams of conquest, and all that remains hundreds of years later are grasses, not even eroding forts, not any kingdoms, just grass. In Japanese, it has it here, Natsugasa ya tsuwamono domo ga yume no ato, which of course, who knows what that means. We're back. We have some kids playing around here, and I wanted to be respectful, which is why I'm speaking at this lower volume and not so erratic and crazy like I normally am, because I am in a beautiful park and I don't want to impinge on anyone else's springtime April adventure. But yeah, I do really enjoy that haiku, but it's more so the idea that I really like than the way it's expressed. But the opening passage of this book is very famous, and I'll read it because it's absolutely beautiful. The moon and sun are eternal travelers. Even the years wander on. A lifetime adrift in a boat, or an old age leading a tired horse into the years. Every day is a journey, and the journey itself is home. From the earliest times, there have always been some who perished along the road. Still, I've always been drawn by wind-blown clouds into dreams of a lifetime of wandering. Coming home from a year's walking tour of the coast last autumn, I swept the cobwebs from my hut on the banks of the Sumida just in time for New Year. But by the time spring mists began to rise from the fields, I longed to cross the Shirakawa barrier into the northern interior. Drawn by the wanderer spirit, Dosojin, I couldn't concentrate on things. Mending my cotton pants, sewing a new strap on my bamboo hat, I daydreamed. Rubbing moxa into my legs to strengthen them, I dreamed a bright moon rising over Matsushima. So I placed my house in another's hands and moved to my patron, Mr. Sampu's summer house, in preparation for my journey. And I left a verse by my door. Even this grass hut may be transformed into a doll's house. And what a wonderful way to begin this story. I think one of the reasons why this is so famous is because of that paragraph. As far as I can tell, I mean, the moon and sun are eternal travelers. Even the years wander on. It's so great. And then, of course, a lifetime adrift in a boat, or in old age leading a tired horse into the years. Every day is a journey, and the journey itself is home. It's just beautifully expressed. And of course, most of us who hear quotes like that instinctively believe that to be true, and I really do think that's true. The thing that I don't think works so well on me is I wish there were more. I wish there were more detail about what he's going through, and maybe it's because whenever he's describing a short scene of crossing into a specific region or a town, he only gives you, 5 sentences, and then a haiku just punctuates it. Maybe because the haiku are not so powerful to me, being rendered into English, I wish that I had more prose to fill it out, because maybe the haiku are supposed to take a more front and center kind of role, but here they almost feel like a flavor add-on, and the scene never really feels complete to me. Nonetheless, I did enjoy a lot of the haiku, and there's one moment in this book where I laughed really, really hard. I got a huge laugh out of it, and I think it's because of the contrast of the feeling of sincerity and beauty and mono no aware, the sense of passing beauty that runs throughout the whole thing. Suddenly there's this passage in which he's just gone into this mountain hut, and it's raining and it's dirty, and he's on the floor and he's miserable, and he's with his friend, and this is basically what he says: a heavy storm pounded the shack with wind and rain for 3 miserable days. And then we get this haiku: eaten alive by lice and fleas, now the horse beside my pillow pees. And that's like Kurt Vonnegut talking about the story structure of Kafka's the Metamorphosis of, if the y-axis is the happiness of the main character, and the x-axis is time. You get like Cinderella, where you kind of go up and up and up and up as she gets transformed, and then clock strikes 12, she goes down, finds the shoe, infinite happiness, right? But the story structure of Kafka's Metamorphosis is a guy wakes up, he's miserable in his life, he hates his job, and he's transformed into a cockroach. Just bad to worse, and that's all you get. That's what that haiku feels like to me. Eaten alive by lice and fleas, now the horse beside my pillow pees. That I will take with me into my life. I mean, that draws so many things to my mind. Not only Kurt Vonnegut talking about the happiness graph of the Metamorphosis, but that wonderful description in Moby Dick in the chapter The Hyena. There are sometimes, like, I forget exactly, I should memorize it, I should keep that by heart because I love it so much, but like, there are some instances in this weird, strange thing we call life, in which one takes this whole universe to be a big practical joke, where life is just beating you down so much, it's just funny. I love that. I love that Basho had a sense of humor. It just adds depth to the whole thing for me. So yeah, I'll be revisiting this in different translations to see if something works better for me than Sam Hamill's, because I read the whole thing, of course, and then today I've just been going through a bunch of it and seeing how I feel about it a month later after having read it. I still am not really connecting with it so far. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed it. And maybe the reason why I'm not feeling like I've connected with it so much is because I've been reading my favorite book, Moby Dick, and I've been reading Montaigne's essays, and that's just an instant connection. And maybe life it's normal to just like books and not to love them. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you today. I guess I'll maybe wrap things up with another video too on my journey home. Well, maybe I'll take the subway home so that I can actually go work on the song for this, because I work tomorrow, because I'm a working man now. But yeah, happy April Adventures, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this small little micro discussion on the narrow road to the deep north, / the narrow road to the interior. I think Oku no Hosomichi is the way that you say it in Japanese. And yeah, have a wonderful, I guess for you, whenever this goes up, start of your week. And until next time, bye, BookTube.
Hello.